A little bit of information about how your BIP is going to be evaluated and a review of the rubric that will be used in assigning you a grade for that project. So again, click on that Behavior Intervention Change Plan tab in the blue menu. There's another video that's posted that gives you the guidelines that are going to be followed. And then there's also some information or a way of looking at the rubric for the project. So go on in, select View Rubric, and let me just quickly explain how this is going to be used and what you should expect. And I apologize for the ResearchGate email coming in. So if you'll notice here, each of the items provided in the guideline are also specified in the rubric with information on the number of points available for each. So the first thing that you're asked to do is provide a general description of your project that is worth 5% or 5 points out of the total 100. The same is true for a description of your subject and your setting. So in your subject, remember that you're going to provide the demographic information, information related to the strengths and needs of your subject, etc. Setting, what environment are you going to be conducting your intervention project in? And remember, that needs to be an environment in which you yourself spend some time and in which you can provide or be involved in the conduct of that project. It's not going to be okay to say, I'm going to design it and someone else is going to implement it. You're going to specify your target behavior. Again, that is also worth 5 points. So really making clear what is the specific individual behavior that you are working to either increase or decrease. You've got a short-term objective in the in the video that I provided where I review the guidelines. I'm very specific about that fact that short-term objectives needs to be one very clearly stated sentence that includes a condition, a behavior, and a criteria. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. And I strongly suggest that you allow me to look at your short-term objective well in advance of you beginning your your intervention phase of your project. Your baseline data is going to include the data you gather related to that behavior prior to your intervention. So again, you're going to have at least 3 to 5 data points. You're going to be very specific about how you measured that behavior, and you're going to include some kind of data chart along with an ABC chart, an antecedent behavior consequence chart that describes that behavior prior to intervention. Your intervention phase is going to describe exactly the procedures that you utilized to support the individual in increasing or decreasing the targeted behavior. You're also going to describe 2 alternative interventions that you might propose to use if your initial intervention did not prove to be effective. You're going to include your data collection the data that you collected during the intervention. Now remember, what you collect at baseline and what you collect at post-intervention are going to have to align, or I'm not post-intervention, but during the intervention are going to have to align so that you can compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. There's information about maintenance and generalization. How are you going to make sure that the person is able to continue to demonstrate those skills once the formal intervention period is over, and how are they going to be able to take those skills and use them in a variety of environments with a variety of other individuals. There's an opportunity for you to provide a rationale for why you structured the project the way you did and why you think it was important, and add any additional comments that you want me to consider as I evaluate your work. You're going to get an additional 10 points, and you can see, let me go back. So, short-term objective, baseline, intervention phase, data collection, maintenance and generalization, and rationale, all worth 10 points toward your project total grade. And then your presentation and your quality of writing are each worth an additional 10. So remember, you're only going to have 6 to 7 minutes to do your presentation. You need to share only the most important information. You need to do it in a way that is comprehensible and compelling for your peers and for myself. Your writing needs to be in APA format. You need to make sure that you're including references, particularly with respect to the interventions that you are proposing, and that you are taking the opportunity to practice those professional writing skills. If you have any questions, again, about either the guidelines or the rubric, please let me know, and I will look forward to seeing the final results of your project.